Hi, today I'm interviewing Janine Shapiro, mindset alchemist and healer, about why she does what she does. We're meeting on Zoom. Come and join us. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to be interviewing the fabulous Janine Shapiro, mindset alchemist and healer. Now, I've been following Janine for quite some time now, and I can honestly say that she is one woman that doesn't ever fail to put a smile on my face, bring a little bit of sunshine into my life, and also feel soothed by her presence. So I'm sure you're going to feel totally inspired by what she has to say today. And so, Janine, welcome. And why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Thank you for such a beautiful welcome, Carol. You always inspire me. So it's an
Thank you.
absolute pleasure to be on here. What inspired me to do what I'm doing? Well, I think it was more fear.
Really?
Just repeat the question, just in case I got it wrong.
Sorry?
Just repeat the question quickly.
Oh, no, just about who you are and what you do. Tell us a bit
Okay.
about
Well, I'm here in South Africa. I help people literally move from living in quiet desperation and frustration into a life that they really like living through, basically understanding who they are, who they can be, and what the power of their thoughts, their words, and their actions are. I am a happily married mom of two young adults who are making their way in the world. And I just enjoy seeing people blossom and grow, and I love learning myself. So for me to help others learn who they are, what they can do, and who they can be is just such a joy.
And how did you kind of end up doing this, and how long have you been doing it for?
Sure. Okay, that's a long story. I don't think we have enough time today. The crazy is I started out as nursing because I didn't at the time realize I'm a medical intuitive and a psychic, and I had this deep desire to help people move forward, for people to feel well. It didn't go well because being an empath and a healer, I would keep sending my energy out, so I became ill, which really didn't help my children when they were growing up, because I was does everybody know what a Rottweiler dog is? It's a guard dog. It's a very well trained animal. However, when the command attack is given, it doesn't stop. And I was a Rottweiler with lipsticks.
Well, I've never heard that be said about you or anybody else for that matter. So,
So, and for me, I came to understand that something was wrong. Everything was not as it could be, should be, and I would have a deep knowingness of what should be, and then not have. I did not feel I had the ability to make the change, make the difference, and I could feel I was not who I should be, and that's what started me on my journey.
okay,
Well, part of it.
so a little bit by accident in terms of turning it into a business, then more kind of self-discovery, and that must have meant that you faced one awful lot of challenges along the way, then, Janine.
I actually did. I have worked from home since I was pregnant with my son, and he's going to be 30 this year. I started out in the antenatal, postnatal sphere. I moved into massage therapy. I moved into homeopathy, and that was all offline based. I didn't know how to run my books properly. I didn't know how to connect with people properly. And with hindsight, I just have a deep understanding now that I wasn't being who I should be. My best thing I ever did was hire somebody to help me with my books. It doesn't even enter my zone of incompetence. It just is something I do not enjoy.
Yeah.
So I more or less fell into the pattern of I knew I should have a business. I wasn't sure what I should have. I was helping my husband with his business, which we have a really good relationship. We just are not meant to work together in that way. It's not good for us, was not good for our children, and it added a component to my life that was not really aligned at all. And at the time, I didn't realize it. So yes, I more or less have been guided to where I am in this business. I've been guided into becoming who I can be, and it's through following the whispers. I can tell you now, people, follow those whispers, because when you don't follow them, you aren't creating that success for yourself. You're impacting the other people around you, and it just is a challenge for this to happen. I'm not sure what's happening now. Carol seems to have disappeared, so I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi or somebody else's. So the bottom line is, what actually happened for me was my parents, as parents do, they began aging, they began moving into their area of life that you do. And I want to tell you, we only get old because we watch our parents age. And I watched my parents and I decided I'm not aging like that. However, when my dad passed on, it was a huge wake-up call for me. And I came to understand that if anything happened to my husband, my business could not sustain myself or my children. And this was when I really, really got serious about life. I got serious about my business, and I started stepping into the space and the place that I could be. I also saw my mom develop Alzheimer's and dementia, where she wasn't who she could be, who she was. And I came to understand she never was who she could be. And I looked at this and I decided, I'm not dying with my dream inside of me. And that watching my friends with divorces, partners dying, and how it's left them, I chose not to be like that, if I can put it to you that way. What some of the challenges for me was to trust myself, to trust that I actually could hear what I was hearing, that I actually could do what I was shown that I can do, and what to do to move forward and how to move forward with it. And that for me was a very interesting perspective and point of view. it was a challenge. People, it was a challenge. And you know what? I've learned, step up into the challenge. Look at the fear and know that you can absolutely get on with it and work with it and move into it. Carol's back.
It was me who went. I thought it was you who'd gone.
It said to me, I'm the host now and I'm live on Facebook.
You carry on, Janine. I'd assumed that it was your internet, not mine, and then I disappeared completely. So it's obviously my internet.
Shame. So I understand. I was just sharing that when my dad died, I suddenly realized that if anything happened to my husband, I could not sustain my children and that I watched when my dad died as well. He'd always taken care of me. And I suddenly realized, well, my husband also, and I suddenly realized, Janine, guess what? You're in your 50s, doll. You take care of you, not the other way around. And Carol, I was so grateful for the journey I've been walking, the journey I'd been on, what I'd learned, what I'd experienced, because when my dad passed and I saw my mom, who I realized at that point had never actually lived her dream, and it made her bitter, not better, yeah. I decided I am not dying with my dream inside of me. And it was like the universe just brought me what I should do, how I should do it. And it's been a very interesting, it's nearly a 6-year journey, 5-year journey of discovering who I actually am, not who people think I am, and just becoming more of who I can be, and enabling others and empowering others to be able to walk that journey as well, without fear, without doubt, without losing themselves, and not stepping into what other people choose them to be, but being who they be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that as women, we tend more than anybody else, more than men, should I say, to kind of assume this role in life and be the person that we think other people want us to be, or the person we think we should be. And I think it's probably when you get to a certain stage in life, and I think it coincides quite often with when you are watching your children become more independent, that you actually realize just what is missing. And that part that is missing is you, the real you, where you have been playing all these different roles all of your life and have this different purpose. You get to a certain stage and you think, actually, I have to fill this gap. I have to make a difference. I have to find my purpose, follow it, and get in touch with what really lights me up. So that is really lovely to hear that that is what happened to you. And kind of since that 6-year journey, then it sounds like it's been really quite fulfilling, but there must have been times when you really thought, no, you know, I'm going to give this up. The challenges have got so much, because especially the journey you've been on, it must have taken so much introspection that there must have been a time when you just thought, no, I'm just going to go back to something more simple.
Absolutely. You know, it's so interesting what you were saying there, because my mom always used to say, Janine, the worm turns at 40. And what she meant was, your childbearing years are coming to an end for most women. And you are so correct when you say we're now stepping forward into our next phase of life, our next purpose. And I think for me, that was the challenge, was understanding, release your children, let them live their life and step into your life as it is now. That phase has left. This phase is now beginning. For me, it was, I didn't understand the language of, I didn't have transport at that time. So for me, that is why I started an online business, because I could reach people without having to get into a motor car and go anywhere. Mm-hmm. I had people coming to my home as part of my clinic, but that was not what I wanted to, that is not what I chose to carry on doing, because yes, I'm a medical intuitive. Yes, I'm a healer. Yes, I'm a psychic. The way I was doing it was no longer aligned. That phase had gone. And that was a huge challenge for me, to release that identity, to step forward into the new identity. And then, Carol, we came to the complexities of online business, which, yes, is similar to offline business and is yet not the same. There's a different modus operandi, there's a different way of showing up, and it's still a business. And I had grown up with, you know, it's wrong of you to charge. As a healer, you shouldn't charge. As a nurse, you know, you can't do what doctors do. How can you charge for what you do? That for me was one of the most interesting hurdles, and I still work on it daily, of overcoming. I've actually learned the art of silence. Put out your prices and keep quiet, because the first one to speak loses. And I had to stop assuming that other people couldn't afford me, that other people weren't making the choice to work with me and to pay the going rate of what I was asking. And I would diminish my power and their power by offering it at a lower rate, or at a rate that I assumed they could afford. I was actually stealing from those people and from myself. And that for me was one of the bigger journeys and challenges to actually overcome, and trusting myself and making conscious what I had been doing subconsciously and automatically and instinctively for years. Like when people say to you, think of one thing that you do that other people can't do. And I'm going, but everybody can do what I can do. I did not realize people didn't know what other people were thinking. People didn't have knowingnesses like I do, and people couldn't see and feel and experience potentials of the future. I thought, well, everybody's intuitive, everybody can do it. And it was to make that a conscious action rather than a subconscious one. That actually was, I can sum it up in one word: trust. Trusting myself.
That is just such an important stage to get through, though, what you've got through, the whole money thing, because I can imagine how much more amplified that would be for you in the role that you were playing at the time, in the healing role. but it's something that I think as women, we just tend so much to undervalue ourselves. We have so much fear around charging proper prices for what we do and claiming our zone of genius. And I think getting through that stage is just so important. And the way I see it as well is that we have an obligation, you know, especially now more than ever, that we have to make our country's economies really strong. And we can't do that by giving everything away. We've got to do that by charging proper prices. You talked earlier about the relief that you felt when you brought in your accounts person. I felt the same when I got help and brought in different virtual assistants. It makes so much difference. And then you can contribute to their lives, and they can contribute by shopping and engaging other people. So the more that you charge, you know, and offer great value, then it benefits everybody. So I'm a massive, massive believer in you've got to get over this business of charging. So, so Janine, what does being the boss of your own business really mean to you? What does it give you?
Freedom, absolute freedom. Even as I say it, I feel so light. For me, it's able to give you an example. Yesterday, I had a call at 1:45, and I was on the beach when I accessed the call because I'd gone there to have lunch, and time had slipped away. And because of the technology, I was able to fit it into my time. It's to work my business around my lifestyle, not my lifestyle around my business, and to empower other people to do the same thing. Carol, I love what I do. I adore it. I can sit in front of my computer, creating, speaking, sharing, helping from 6 in the morning until midnight. I had to actually come to realize that that is also not a great thing, because like my knitting, things like my sewing, things like my learning, I'd sit there learning, listening to other people, pulling the dots together. And I learned that lifestyle is also for living. It's not just for working. And yet I love what I do. However, there are other things that I love, and I've learned being my own boss is enabling me to work around what I can do.
Yeah. And it's so important, isn't it, that, as you say, it isn't just, however much we love our businesses, and I'm exactly the same. My natural inclination is to fall out of bed straight into work and to fall into bed again after work. But there is so much more to life and our hobbies, and we can have it all. We can have amazing lives, and we can still run really great businesses that feed and allow us to experience everything we can experience. And we are so lucky with everything that we have, that we can do that. So Janine, what tips and advice would you give to anybody who's starting business or in business and looking to grow, thinking about giving up business? What kind of tips would you like to offer?
What I would like to offer is something most people really do not enjoy hearing. And that is, there are steps to learning, there's steps to moving forward. And it's no good looking at, like for myself, a coach earning 100,000 K a month and making the intention that I'm going to do that in 3 months. It's to look at, what do I set up? Where do I set it up? Who do I set it up with? And how do I work with it as myself? Take it step by step by step. Do not rush the process, because foundations are very, very important. And when you are desperate to bring in money, you chase your clients away. Whereas when you are in total ease with yourself, you're in there's still work. Carol, people hear this, they say, oh, you mean I don't have to work? No, 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 no. There's still work. Hear this, there is still work.
Yeah.
However, it's to take it step by step. Who's your client? What are you offering them? What is their pain point? Not what would you like to do? What is your client asking you to do? Because that is a mistake I made, and it's a mistake I see many new coaches make. And just currently, I'm also seeing people, because of the situation, because of everything, they are desperate to make money, and they are paying out fortunes of money to get to this level before they've even reached this level. And for me, it's understanding, here's the level you would like to be at. work towards it, and be this level, think at this level, create at this level, and bring yourself up to that level like this. So you be the energy and the vibration of where you would like to be. You think like that person, and you learn the steps, the processes, and everything to bring yourself up to that point.
Yeah.
And people don't understand this. The biggest thing people is, how do I get more people on my programs? How do I get more people on my courses? Well, number one, where have you built the know, like, and trust factor? Number two, where have you made connections with people? Number three, what connections have you made? Are they people who would like to work with you? My challenge is to people, go and set the intention to do 50 discovery calls. Now, there are a lot of coaches that are going to go, no discovery call. Well, I wanted to share with you that when you do those calls, A, you learn the language of the clients. B, you learn who you would like to work with and who you wouldn't like to work with. And C, you learn how to deal with situations, deal with questions, and you're actually putting in a foundation that when you launch your courses, you launch your programs, you are there with it. People who are overnight successes, I have seen, experienced, and realized are actually people who listen to that inner whisper. They take the small aligned steps and they go through the learning process. And they've normally had, either they learned it as children, they learned it as teenagers, they learned to put that foundation in somewhere. So that is for me. Check the foundation and just keep learning with action applied.
And I think what you said in terms of be the person up here, so this is your goals. And I think it's just so important that there is just too much on the internet promising people overnight success without doing the work. And you see people moving from kind of freebie to freebie to freebie to try and access those quick, instantaneous results and adopting behaviors that are inauthentic. But when you kind of have your vision in mind and you're totally passionate about it and it really makes your heart sing, then you can do those yucky tasks and work up those steps, but only if you keep sight of this vision up here. So when you're doing the hard work and it's challenging, it makes us do the things that we really don't like. You say about doing the 50 calls, that is not something anybody's going to do unless they've got this big vision in their mind, and that's propelling and driving them on to action. So yeah, that's really, really helpful, Janine. And in terms of you and your own business, what's next for you? Have you got any more plans? Are you launching any new programs? What's going on?
Well, what I'm busy launching on a one-on-one basis is my Spiral for Success, where I help you understand how to be more, be better, create more, create better, earn more and earn better, and to just be. And that's a one-on-one program. People can reach out to me and I can discuss where and what it fits, because what I have found is I'm a person who likes to tailor it to my client. So yes, there's an outline. However, it is tailored to each specific person. And I also have my membership group, which is $39.99, Healers in Business Support Group. And there are many people in there who are not healers. For $39.99 a month, somebody said to me, is that a year? No, a month. What we do, I channel once a week, and let me put it in perspective. I charge $300 an hour to channel for you, to spend an hour with me. So $39.99, and I channel once a week is really good value. Currently, at the moment, we are discussing the joy of business and how money mindset either makes or breaks your journey in business. And that is what we are currently doing this month. Next month, come and join us and discover what we're getting up to. I will be extending the joy of business. We talk about things like what I've been discussing, the various steps people can go with that they require. And you know what I find so interesting? I have posted various units, and I see people go back and play around with the units when they are ready, because we all come in at different levels, different areas of expertise. And for me, the biggest thing is look at what your zone of excellence is and look at what your zone of genius is. Because I know for many years I was working my zone of incompetence and zone of excellence. And it's only since I've turned into the zone of genius that, wow, it has just absolutely made a difference in my life and in the life of my clients.
That's amazing. And where can people find out more about these, your one-to-one program and your membership?
Well, and for those who aren't into the membership yet, I do have Optimal Awareness for Driven Entrepreneurs, which is a free group. You can reach out to me on Facebook. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat. I'm everywhere. And my website is JanineKathleen with the K.com, which is the best place to find my email and how to look at work. What I offer more than what's on my website. However, I decided, you know what, when people have rows and rows and rows of things to look at, they take nothing. Confusion does not bring clarity. Chaos, however, brings creation. So that's what
I like the way you think, Janine. So that's great. And I'll post the links in the group as well, so people know how to get hold of you. And you are totally inspiring. And I feel quite refreshed from talking to you. So thank you so much for joining me today, and for everybody for listening in. And I wish you a great, great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
So that was my interview with Janine Shapiro, mindset alchemist and healer. A really interesting insight into why she does what she does. Join me next week when we'll be joined by the incredibly talented Rebecca Schwartz, singing teacher and performer. See you then.